So today, on the main edition of FrontLine, brought to you by Italian Media, we will be uncovering the youth unemployment level in Nigeria and also evaluating the impact of a lot of these government empowerment initiatives to really know whether they are working, because that's the big question here. Are these initiatives really working, and how is it really translating to the unemployment level in Nigeria? Of course, I'm your host, Choma Otie, and I'm going to be having a really insightful conversation with the president of the Nigerian Youth in Politics today. I would give him the honors of introducing himself, and then we jump right into the conversation. Trust me, it's going to be a very, very interesting and informative one. You don't want to go anywhere. So, I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself now. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
It's good to have you here. It's really an honor to have you here. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine. It's a pleasure to be here too.
We're really honored to have you here. So I'd like you to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Blessing. I'm the president of Nigerian Youth in Politics. I'm also the convener of Nigerian Youth Stakeholders Conversation, and also the founder of Nigerian Youth Policy Development and Progressive Initiative.
That's a lot. I mean, I think you're wearing so many hats. How's that going for you? How are you able to manage all of that?
Yeah, we thank God. We are pushing. You know, it's what you're passionate about, so we don't feel the too much.
I already tell that, and it's really great to have you here. I can't think of any better person to have this conversation with. And all I hear in all of the introduction is youth. So you do a lot around youth, and that's really the subject of our conversation today, talking about unemployment level. So I'll start by asking you what you think about the unemployment level in Nigeria. It continues to skyrocket, even though the NBC is giving us some figures that we don't really know how realistic it is. But let me just know from you, what do you think about the current unemployment level in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Sherman. I think the figure put out by the MBS, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, is the official figure of the unemployment rate in Nigeria. And for me, I don't want to talk more about the unemployment rate because I'm a Nigerian, I'm a young person, I'm in the business space, I'm in the social enterprise space, and I can tell you authoritatively that the major challenge is not employment. If you check the figure put forward, I think the unemployment rate is about 6.something%. Now the major challenge is underemployment. That is the biggest problem because every young Nigerian you see today, irrespective of the level of education, have one skills or the other. They are engaged in one trade or one business. You understand? So the issue now with the government need to take very serious is underemployment people. They are engaged in one business or the other. You go to the market. This is Abuja. You know, I can tell you to go to Wuse Market. You find most of these young Nigerians working there. Some of them they pay them as small as 15,000 naira per month. They pay them 20,000 naira per month in an economy of today. So can you now say that such persons that have been paid after 1 month, that have been paid 15,000, 20,000 naira is duly employed?
No.
So
sadly not, unfortunately. And whether we choose to call it underemployment or we choose to call it unemployment, this has been subject of conversation for over 2 decades now. It's not something new to us. So I would like to know your opinion on this. Why do you think that regardless of all of these initiatives, empowerment initiatives and schemes, there hasn't really been any significant change in the unemployment or underemployment level in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Choma. I think we need to give kudos to this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and for giving us first a youth minister for the first time in the person of Honorable Olawande Wisdom, who is the Honorable Minister for Youth Development. And if you go, into what the ministry have done since the inception, you realize that this administration has done so much in terms of creating opportunity for young people to be skilled in one field, in one area or the other. You understand? Now the minister unveiled an initiative last month, I think early this month, this month, and it's called NIA, Nigerian Youth Academy. This is a platform that young people could go in and learn some skills. In fact, the tagline is one you, two skills. You understand? So you go to the platform, Nigerian Youth Leadership Academy, you'll be able to learn one or two skills. You understand? So
yes.
The ministry is doing, there are so many programs that are geared towards reducing, empowering the young people within the entrepreneurship space. However, government needs to do more, because the problem that we have is not all about giving them skills. The problem that we have is about financial inclusion. You've successfully, like the Ministry of Communication, Dr. Bosun flagged off 3 million digital economy. You see them, they are training 3 million people. NITDA is doing digital literacy. SMEDAM is giving entrepreneurship skill for young people across various local governments and states in Nigeria. Wonderful initiative, good implementation. But the problem is, have we advanced in limiting or reducing the unemployment rate in Nigeria? The answer is no. So everything that the administration has done now and previously can be said to be a drop in an ocean, a drop of water in an ocean. What do I mean by that? That means they need to do more. The challenge within this space remains the same. What is it? Financial inclusion. You have over the administration is targeting 3 million within the digital space, digital skill. What happened after they've gotten the skill without no financial instrument? Then the NIA, Nigerian Youth Academy, what happened if you have given them all the skills that they need? The problem still remains if you fail to connect these young people with right financial instrument and mentorship for their businesses. If all these things are not done, we are just wasting our time.
I totally agree with you, and I would like to pick up from what you said. I totally agree with the fact that the Minister of Youth Development and the Minister of Digital Economy and Communications, they are really doing amazing work. But the problem is the gap, like you mentioned, about having them have capital to actually start implementing what they are doing. But I would want us to really build more around that. But before then, I want us to go back to the basics a little, where the root of the problem is, because unemployment is not really about the government alone, it's also about the people. Are they really prepared to actually take up the world of work? Are they really prepared to do what they're expected to do? And I want us to go a little into the educational sector. Do you think that there is a role that the educational sector in Nigeria is supposed to equip Nigerian youth with that is omitted, which is the reason why they come out of school and then they are more or less confused and don't know what to do with their lives?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me just correct you in your opening, because it would be so unjust of you to say that Nigerian youth are not prepared. You understand? Because I can tell you, I receive calls even back in the village. I receive calls of young people that have no means of livelihood. We are very, very much ready to get involved, to be doing something. But the questions now take us to the next, which is the enabling environment.
Yeah, that's
is there the enabling environment? Now let me now remind you something that I keep saying it, and I will still say it on your platform. Government have no business in business. The only business of government in business is to create enabling environment for businesses to spur. That takes us to the educational aspect that you talk about. See, Nigerian academic curriculum has not seen much to do when it comes to educating our young people in the tertiary institution. All these things, they have been doing it. You still go visit it, you discover, even when you finish your education, you go to NYSC, when you are in camp, you go through entrepreneurship skills, and most of the courses now, they have improvised, they teach them. So I don't think the problem is in our educational system. The problem is for government to create enabling environment for businesses to spur.
So what is the environment that government is supposed to look like? Because if I get what you said that the business of government is to actually create an enabling environment, which I suppose is their only task. But why does it look like it's really not working? Anyways, before we came on here, we were talking about the schemes. We had you talked about the NDE, we talked about NPower, which are old ones. Now you talked about the NYA and stuff like that. So what is missing really? I know you have kind of given an answer to that, but is there a path part of the structure of these initiatives that is being omitted, which is why people go through all of these trainings and afterwards, some of them get funding, some of them do not get funding, but it doesn't seem like any change is really being noticed in the grand scheme of things in Nigeria. What's the problem?
Yeah, I'll just go back to the challenge, the problem which I feel needs to be done. You see, in creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurship to spur, number one, what are the factors of production? One of the factors of production is electricity, power supply. As an entrepreneur today, you know, mind you, the backbone of any economy is the entrepreneurship. You understand? And Nigerian workforce, the workforce of Nigeria is about the informal sector or corporates about control over 75%. And now, if you go to that sector, now I'm an entrepreneur, I run a business, I provide my power solution for myself. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, I make 1.5 million, and every day I spend roughly 40,000, 20,000 daily, and at the end of the month, 80% of that money is gone to providing electricity. So that is one of the problems. Government must look into the power sector for it to enhance or stimulate the business environment for entrepreneurship to spur. That is one. Secondly, is the issue of financial inclusion. You train 3 million people without giving them instrument of starter pack, financial instrument, and you train 1 million people on different skills and this skill, that, without everything. You don't have them to say, okay, this is he wants to start up. Are you getting it? They want to, after the training, they want to go into the field, but you abandon them there and you say you have empowered them. That is not empowerment. You need to create financial inclusion for every young Nigerian that is willing to get one or two skills and get moving within the entrepreneurship space. Give them financial inclusion, just like what Akinwumi, the outgoing president of African Development Bank, said, that Nigerian youth don't need stipends. They need to be connected to financial instruments. Once you train them, give them capital, and after giving them capital, we need to create an entrepreneurship mentorship hub.
Yes.
You train them, you give them capital, you don't abandon them. Create a mentorship or business mentorship, or it has to be intentional of government, unless we will just keep rolling in the same circle and you think that we are advancing. So many people paint so many pictures that we are good, we are advancing. My brother, is a lie. We are not. We need to do things differently for us to achieve different results.
I agree with you. Aside from even the mentorship hub, I think that there should be a structure, a system for monitoring and evaluation to ensure that these people are actually doing what they are being funded to do. I totally agree with you on that. So moving on, I think we've talked a lot about the government, and I think that the unemployment problem in Nigeria is not a problem for only the government to bring solutions to. So I want us to speak a little about the public-private partnership. Where do you think that is meant to come in, and how much impact is that supposed to actually bring to the table when we talk about unemployment in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much. The public sector, the private sector, the public sector is the government, and they are doing their best. We need to give kudos to this administration, in as much as we are aware that it's still a drop of water in an ocean. Now let's talk about the responsibility of the private sector partnering with the government. You see, we need more individuals, we need more of the bourgeois, we need more of the rich and wealthy, captains of the industry, to see this as a challenge. You understand? So we call on them to join hands with the government. Government is doing their bit. Private sector individual must do their bit, because it's not a one cap fits all. So it's an all-inclusive approach for us to solve the problem of unemployment in Nigeria.
Okay, I think it has to be a unanimous task, and everybody has to be involved because it affects all of us one way or the other. So moving on, I want us to talk about the reach of these schemes or initiatives of the government. I see that most of the people that actually get to receive fundings or some of these trainings are people that are probably politically connected in some way, but people that are marginalized, people in rural areas, they don't really get to participate or benefit from most of these trainings and initiatives. What do you think is missing? Why is it not going all the way down to the grassroots? And how should it get to them?
Yes, I think I'm not a government person. I'm not employed by the federal government of Nigeria. I'm employed by the federal government of youth, to push, to advance and amplify the voices of young persons in nation building, in economic development, in entrepreneurship, and also political participation. And the challenge posed by your question is simple. It's the dysfunctional system of government. Those that are engaged by government to do this work need to sit tight. Like the Ministry of Information, this is their business. It is the mandate of the Ministry of Information. And they have an agency, they'll call it NOA, National Orientation Agency. They are still under Ministry of Communication, Information Dissemination. So getting various programs of government that is geared towards solving the challenges in the entrepreneurship space and employment empowerment of the young peoples in Nigeria is the business of these agencies of government. So they need to sit tight. In rural areas, most of these organizations, agencies of government, they have offices in states. So when the central government is doing their bit, so it is the business for them to disseminate, ensure that the right set of people get the information and participate in these opportunities are available. Yes. Because I am sure that this government has done so much in skills development, dishing out skills. One youth, two skills, Nigerian Youth Academy, we have Nigerian Youth Exports, Nigerian Youth Exports Academy. There are so many initiatives that are geared towards giving skills, capacity building, human capital development, you understand? So the ministries and agencies relevant should do their job.
Yes, I hope they do their job, because there are a myriad other people, young people in different nooks and crannies in Nigeria that deserve to actually enjoy this, because they are citizens of the country. So I urge the agencies that are responsible for this to ensure that this goes down as much as possible to some of these targeted individuals. So earlier, before we came here, we had also spoken about how a lot of the time they just bring up policies and maybe some already designed implementation plans for young people without having the young people on the table. How do you think that young people or youth can actually be involved in the designing of most of these policies, or in fact most of these initiatives, so that they know what really hurts and know how to solve these problems, other than just bringing something and saying, oh, this is for the youth, but no youth was on the table? How do you think that youth participation can actually change most of this?
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, you have succeeded in reading my mind. What do I mean? On the 30th of this month, April, just 14 days from now, we'll be unveiling the Nigerian Youth Policy Development Advocacy Initiative. Why did we decide to identify that space? Because we realize young people need to be at the center of policy making.
Of course.
And when you talk about the youth constituency, that is the heart of a nation. China, as it is today, is what it is because they were able to harness the population of its youth. And that's why China is a world power. Other countries are similar. You can say it's the same strategies. So Nigeria now, we are growing economy. So we need to bring the young people into the policy development space. That is where NYPD AI comes in. So we want to ensure that when it comes about policy development that affects the youth, the young people are at the center. So we are advocating for that, and in the next 1 year, all our program, we are going to be working in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth Development, because we are going to amplify what they do. We are going to ensure that when whatever policy that affects the young people at the National Assembly, we are there. We take the information to the young people, and we will now be the bridge to say these policies are good for us, these policies are not good for us. So we must take ownership of the process of formulating policies that affect the generation of the next generation of Nigeria.
I like your response. However, I still have a bit of a problem with that, because I think that in this part of the world, we are very big on coming up with policies, but when it comes to implementation, it is difficult. How do you foresee your event, which is, by the way, a very great one, and I would love each and every one of us to participate in it or be involved in it in one way or the other. How do you think that it is going to go beyond just mere paper or written documents to actionable or implementable steps that are going to really change the trajectory of things?
Like I said earlier, it is a responsibility of every meaningful, passionate Nigerian to get involved in the process. It is not the business of government alone. If you leave the running of this country in the hands of government alone, your future will be messed up. So we are bringing together a crop of young Nigerians that are professional, that are passionate about development, to be involved in the business of policy making, to be involved in the business of governance, so that we'll be able to hold the government accountable, and so that we'll be able to reinforce informed decision that is needed to advance the nation, and most especially because our constituency is a youth constituency, to advance the aspiration of the Nigerian youth in general.
That's interesting. I just hope that the people that are involved actually are willing to take the steps or necessary steps. All right, moving forward. By the way, thank you very much for your responses so far. I just really hope that our audience are really taking all of this into cognizance, because these are very important conversations or solutions to the ever-growing problem of unemployment in Nigeria. So my next question would now be that a lot of people see entrepreneurship as the one-size-fits-all solution to unemployment in Nigeria. Then it begs the question, what happens to decent job? What happens to labor rights? What happens to industry growth and all of that? What do you think is another solution to the unemployment level in Nigeria aside from entrepreneurship? Because some people argue that, they are not entrepreneurs at heart. They don't really like buying and selling. They don't like business. So how else can they make money or have a decent life for themselves aside from being entrepreneurs?
Last week, I was at a discussion with the executive director of business development of Nexim Bank.
Okay.
And we talk about economic development. We talk about the current situation that we find ourselves as a nation. You understand? So you cannot talk about solving unemployment, you cannot talk about solving economic problem without the young people having passion to be co-ownership of the development stride of Nigeria. Every young Nigerians must see production, must see themselves as a contributor to the country that we want. Now, why do I have to bring this in? You understand? You look at the purchasing power of Naira, you look at the trade balance, the problem that the current economic crisis that we find ourselves in is as a result of unproductiveness of Nigeria. Nigerians are not productive. Nigerians are consuming citizens. We are one of the largest consumers in the whole world. Go and check the balance sheet of Nigeria. So why do I bring this in? Because like Dr. Stella Okotete, she's passionate young Nigerian like you, and she's doing great in Nexim Bank. And she opened my eyes to see that what happened if we have 1 million Nigerians that wants to be part of development of Nigeria, going into exportation, going into processing of various products locally produced. They will give you the financial instrument to export it. Nigeria will be the country that we want. So you cannot, as a young person, say you will not be part of the problem, part of the solution of this nation. So it is our responsibility within our space. Even though the government is doing the little, the young people should be able to come in, passionately with the intention to save the country from collapse.
I really align with you on that, and just the same way Dr. Stella opened your eyes, I think you've opened my eyes to see that we have to actually be drivers of change, or we have to find ways to produce, to bring solutions to the problems. And we're gradually coming to the end of this conversation, but I'd like to just really understand what you think about the subject of the skills acquisition programs that we have in Nigeria. I think a lot of the time we have different skills acquisition. There's informal trainings like tailoring, there's welding, there's just a lot. Recently we've seen that the Minister of Digital Economy and Communications, Dr. Bosun Tijani, has been doing a lot around AI literacy and stuff like that, which is very future forward. Are there specific other areas that you think that we as Nigerians should be looking into that has a huge potential to actually cause for a very huge leap in our economic development? Is there any sector that you'd like us to look into aside from some of these ones that have been highlighted or been trained on in the past?
for me, as a person, based on what I do and with my recent information that I get, I think every Nigerian should just have a passion for production, export production. If 1 million Nigerians should go into export production, we won't have problem with dollarization, dollar scarcity. You understand? And also, to answer your question really is, the government needs to do a holistic need assessment of the space.
Yes.
Without a comprehensive need assessment, you understand, we won't be able to know where we are going to. So a need assessment of the entrepreneurship, youth employment space of Nigeria needs to be done by the government. That will reinforce the decision of what needs to be done, what next step to be done in advancing the nation's economic.
Yeah, I can't agree any less. And I think that in doing that, a lot of youth should be involved, because there and only then would they know what the real problems are. I wanted to just piggyback to something you had said earlier, which you corrected me on, but I still slightly disagree, because I've had conversations with HR experts, and they say things like, oh, they interview certain people, they'll tell you that they have certain skills, but when it comes to practice, they do not really have this. Do you think that another reason why there is a huge unemployment level in Nigeria is because some Nigerian youths, now I'm picking my words very carefully, some Nigerian youths are ill-equipped for the world of work?
I wouldn't agree with you totally on that.
Why is that?
Yeah, because if you go to the workspace, the human resource space, if you put unemployment out, I was saying something to you there.
Yes.
Put an opportunity out that you need 10,000 employers. Put all your skills, put all your recommendations, all the technical requirements.
Yes.
Open your website.
It's a crash.
Don't forget, you have to add the remuneration, the packages that come with it. I can bet my money that website will crash in less than 24 hours. What does it mean? Nigerian youth are one of the most resource youths globally. You understand? So I don't believe that Nigerians are not they don't have the right skills to function perfectly within the workspace. No, they do. I'm telling you this thing I'm telling you is from my experience. An average Nigerians that you take, there's what we call local intelligence. You understand? Okay. Take an average Nigerian that have never got an exposure here, take him to Finland. Within the next 5 years, you will be amazed the success that this person will achieve. What does it mean? Our problem is not human capital. Yes, one of our problems is not the inability of young people to be skilled or they're skillful, but the problem is giving them the environment to spur. Take an illiterate person in your own organization, groom that person, within 1 month he can compete anywhere in the world, because we have one of the most fertile and one of the most blessed human resources that any nation can proud of.
Absolutely. Nigerian youths are really hardworking and resilient, and I just think that we just need a very great conducive environment to thrive. I'd like to know from you, we talked about a lot of youth empowerment initiatives or schemes in the past. Can we look at some of them, or can you just tell me what success to you means in all of these initiatives? And if you are given an opportunity to actually come up with a scheme, what are things that you'd say are learnings from any of these schemes that you would want to implement, or mistakes that were made that you'd like to correct in future policies that's going to cause for better change? Because there are so many, talking about 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, there's been a lot of schemes, but it doesn't feel like it is changing anything. What are some recommendations that you would implement if you were given an opportunity to come up with a scheme for youth unemployment reduction?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think in my capacity, I would not want to do an assessment of the impact of previous initiatives or the current initiative of government.
But we need to learn from their mistakes.
Yes, why I'm saying this is that if you do that, you come under attack. You understand? You do that, you come under attack. But if you are asking me for what needs to be done, I can now tell you that Nigeria should make a decision. The government of Nigeria must be intentional in solving the problem that we are talking about. And what am I trying to say? Just take a look at China, for instance. The secret weapon that Chinese government used to take the people to take China to where they are now.
Currently, yes.
You know the youth, the citizens of China are the backbone of the Chinese economy.
Of course.
Now it's an intention, it's a deliberate effort. They call it plug in.
Okay.
It took China roughly 30 years to identify the resourcefulness of its youth, to plug them into various sectors of the economy, intentionally, not politically. You understand? Now China plug them in various sectors, give them skills, and establish them to be producing. That's why you see Temu, you see Alibaba, you see you can buy virtually everything in China. So if I am in a position to make a proposition, is Nigerian government should be intentional in solving these challenges. Let us create a system that we identify systematically. It does not matter how long it take us. It took China 30 years to lift their citizens out of poverty, to get to where they are now. So it can take Nigeria, because the pace of development in Nigeria is, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. But if we are so much interested and determined, systematically we can be signing them on one after the other, so that we know that at least in the next 5 years, 10 years, we have been able to connect young Nigerians that really wants to be part of the economic backbone of the nation into productivity. It has to be intentional. We must consciously sign them up. Forget about political, social freebies that we are doing. All these things can never solve the problem of Nigeria. So we must sign them on. We must give them everything, nurture them to grow, and ensure that they are consistently being monitored to ensure that they are functioning properly within the various macroeconomic space that they function.
It's important that you added that, and I totally agree with you. And all I hear from what you say is intentionality. There needs to be a huge level of intentionality, because I think that initiatives like this or schemes like this in Nigeria are merely buzzwords. People just want to do certain things and be caught on camera and be shared on TV, and then we see them do certain things while the impact is really not being felt where it should be felt. So before I let you go, we've come to the end of this conversation. I'd just like to know from you, so I'd like you to say this to an average Nigerian youth out there that is currently unemployed or even underemployed, like you said. What should they be doing to themselves to become better members of the society? What should they be looking into, aside from bettering themselves? What should they be looking into to make production easy for themselves? And if you were, I've already asked you this question again, but if you were to actually come up with a scheme, what are 3 priorities for you, things that you would want to include that would be different and is going to be very beneficial to an average Nigerian? That's like a lot of questions in one, but I just hope you got my questions.
Yeah, I think let me start from the last one. We have been doing it, we have been doing our best at Nigerian Youth in Politics as an organization. We have been engaging young people to be nation builder, to engage them to be part of the development of nation Nigeria. We have different programs that is channels towards mentorship, development and empowerment. We have carry out so many programs and activities that has connected young people into opportunity. We create a platform for young people to connect with various agencies of government, various experts in the industry, and that is one of the success stories that we are so proud of. And if you ask me what advice I have for the young people, I can just tell them not to give up, because Rome was not built in a day. I'm a product of self-development. I develop myself. So you must be intentional about the future. What image of yourself have you seen? Discover yourself. Align with your purpose. And your purpose and your passion must be well understood. So if you understand your purpose, if you understand your passion, it becomes easier for you to now know what skill sets you need to have. You are here today, you are interviewing me. I'm a journalist by training. Unlike my brother that read economics, that is now a seasoned economist and doctors and legal luminaries. I read journalism in school, and I took it further, skill myself in what I want to do, and that now takes me to understand what passion I have, and that is the business I'm doing now. I'm a social entrepreneur. So I invest so much in my skills, I invest so much in brushing up myself, I invest so much in learning so many skills, you understand, engage in the right atmosphere, spend less of your time in social media sensationalism. You understand? It only wastes your time. Yes, I do I'm always online, but whenever I'm online, I research, because I know where I'm going. I know the focus I've set for myself. So I put it back to the Nigerian young people that see some of now you look at the Minister of Youth Development, some of them, the other day they say, I want to be like you. How can you be like him? Do you know what investment he has put in himself? You think the government just came to pick him from nowhere? No. So if you want to be anything great in life, you must invest in yourself. Don't let your current situation, don't let your current predicament subject you from achieving destiny. I'm a product of that, and I will tell you it pays to be focused and be determined in whatever you do.
These are really amazing words of advice, and I really hope that it gets home in our heads as Nigerian youth. I mean, it's not easy. The climb around here is not even the best to actually get things done, but I know that every day we continue to drive closer to our dreams and goals. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a really interesting conversation, I must say, with the president of the Nigerian youth in politics. I really enjoyed every bit of it, and unemployment is not something that can be talked about in one day, or it's not something that has a solution already designed somewhere. So every day we talk about this, and we hope that people that matter, or people that are supposed to actually cause this to actually come to reality, do their bit. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I really hope that you like this video at the end of it. If you do like it, share this video, turn on all notifications, subscribe to this channel if you haven't, so that you get to see more and more of this type of content. Again, my name is Chioma Otie, and it's been great having this conversation with you. Thank you very much, sir, for being here.
It's a pleasure, always.
All right then, so that's it for today. Until next time, do stay informed and continue to learn and develop yourself, like he said. That'll be it for today. Thank you, and bye for now.